Joined by head coach Neil Cunningham from Washington Elite University women's soccer. They were picked number 2 in this year's preseason poll. Coach, this is your 27th year overall, 21st year at WNL. Last season had to be one of the most unique, if not the most unique campaign you've ever gone through. Talk a little bit about the process of the spring season, going through it, winning 10 games, and making your way to an ODAC championship game.
Yeah, obviously it was unprecedented. It was a little crazy. I felt like every time we went to practice, we were waiting for it to be our last practice. So sometimes that can be a good thing.
Right.
Spirits were up, high energy. And then, you're 72 hours out before your first game against Guildford. And, you hear all these things going on. And you're like, all right, any day now, they're going to shut us down any day.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to be honest, up till the day we were getting on the bus to go to Guildford, I was expecting us to still get a call and be like, hey, you're not going.
Wow.
We were the first team to travel here on our campus to go anywhere. So it was great. We had a great time at Guildford. We had absolute blast. And we left that game coming back thinking, if that's the only game we get, at least it was a good one.
Well, it wasn't the only one you got. You got 11. And you did pretty well in those. You only gave up 3 goals all last season. And then you get into the ODAC championship game. You go 0-0 with Bridgewater through double overtime. And in penalty kicks, they come away with the title. I know that's a heartbreaking way to do it, but just talk about being able to get so deep into that campaign and really have some good quality minutes there for a lot of players.
Yeah, I think the kids really managed it well, to their credit. I think once we got going and the game started to come pretty regularly, obviously we were limited then by practice time because there's not a lot of practice, but a lot of games.
Right.
So they were definitely finding their way through games, which is not always ideal, but that's what we had to work with. So they gained a lot of experience in a very short amount of time. And we played a lot of young kids. So really pleased that we got through that, really pleased with our record, obviously. Disappointed that, the manner in which we lost, but that's our game. But also excited about what that could do to us going into this fall.
You're good at the segues there because that's exactly where we're going to go right now, kind of leading from the spring season into the fall. Give us a state of your team here right now as you're working through the preseason now and having that quick turnaround coming from last spring.
Yeah, I think there's we have a lot of kids coming back. So I think 23 kids coming back for us.
Wow.
is a lot.
Yeah.
But having said that, half of them have never done a preseason. So it's, because of the pandemic, we didn't really go through a normal preseason schedule. So we're still adjusting to that. So the amount of players that played, the kids that got experience right off the bat is going to serve us well this fall. But at the same time, we've got to manage a preseason that is a little unusual because we haven't had one. And, we're looking at seniors sharing their experience of preseason, and they've done 2, and the first one, they were freshmen anyway, so you can almost write that one off. So none of experience of how to manage a lot of practice in heat and all those other things to get ready for a game that's 10 to 12 days away. But we'll be fine. We're getting there. Our fitness is okay. Our fitness will get better. But I think the difference in playing last spring and the short turnaround has been that it's fresher in everyone's minds.
Right.
Instead of it being a 9-month process where you wait for another game, the chance to be competitive again so soon it has been really good.
You mentioned all those players you've got coming back, and I know there are some all-conference returners in that list. Are you comfortable telling us who you expect to be your leaders this season?
Yeah, well, first of all, we got 3 great captains. Chloe Rapier plays at the back for us. Grace Coombs has been our starting goalie, and Jasmine Fuhr, another one of our goalies. So good leadership there. Erin Hayes coming back in midfield, so that's a huge thing for us. I think we'll be really good defensively, JJ. I think we'll be solid. I think we'll concede less than 3 goals. I'm just kidding. This year, but we'll be good defensively. I think the challenge is going to be attacking. We got some young players that have come into play there. we've lost some really good experienced players in those areas. So I think that will be our biggest challenge, is finding creative ways to score. We won't have a big time scorer, so finding enough people to chip in and create create chances that way. But I think we'll still be very hard to beat.
Well, I think your formula is successful, and you're going to need it as the ODAC looks to be as competitive as ever this year. Talk a little bit about what you see from the conference and where maybe WNL fits and what you think it looks like for the region, given that we're going to be in a new regional alignment this year.
Yeah, I think for the first time, I have no idea what everybody else is doing outside the league. I think that's a bigger unknown than ever, to be honest. We don't know who came back, who didn't come back. I feel grateful and thankful that the ODAC put on a real schedule for us to play in the spring, because many, many leagues did not.
Right.
A lot of people didn't have the opportunity to play. So I think that hopefully will be a good thing for the ODAC, that we did play competitive soccer last spring, and other people have not played for a couple of years competitive soccer. So I think that's good for the ODAC. The ODAC will be strong. I know that. Same teams. I'm surprised Lynchburg is not in the top 3, to be honest. But I think that's an oversight.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to seeing exactly if you're right with that, if you're going to concede fewer than 3 goals this year, and what the ODAC looks like this season. But, Coach, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Cheers, JJ. Thanks, mate.